Oh my gosh. Have we hit the big time or
I
what?
I think so.
I mean,
Hi, that was a really cool intro.
we have now hit the prime time. We have a professionally produced intro for our little podcast, YouTube, Facebook Live, whatever it is. Cup of Joe with Anna and Sheila. I'm Anna.
I am not Sheila. I am Melinda. I
That's
am filling
right.
in for Sheila tonight. So,
Well, Sheila has some kind of Democratic book club. I don't know what that
th-
is.
yes, she has a political. They read political books. So
Political book. So I wonder, we should have like tagged her to understand what she's reading politically. And I wonder what
exactly,
the Republican book club reads, or I
that
could
would
say
be
something really kind of,
Nikki Haley. There's like a biography about her. There's all kinds of
oh,
stuff you can find. Yes, I'm
oh.
sure.
But
But I mean, I don't know, but I have heard of that. Someone recommended it to me, and I just kind of chuckled.
well, yeah. I think we should infiltrate the Republican book club and just see what that's all about.
Mm. Um, I am very
Maybe our
excited about what happened last night with President Biden's
I
speech
know,
and the
right?
women sitting behind him. Was that not
I
awesome?
know.
Woohoo!
I know. I mean, I never would have thought, and this is sad to say, I would have never thought in my lifetime that I would see something like that. But yet we saw it, right?
We sure did. And yay, girl power is all I've got to say.
Girl
It's about
power.
time.
Girl power. Well, welcome to Cup of Joe with Anna and Sheila. We are a non-professional grassroots organization that's centralized here in Florida. We're just a group of suburban women that are trying to make a difference and trying to get the word out as to politics in general, whether it refers to local politics or national politics or things that impact our lives on a daily basis. Because we do have the power, Melinda.
We absolutely do.
We
And
do.
we know that because, in our little part of Hillsborough County, we turned the Hillsborough blue. And we
That's true.
turned where we live from red to light pink. So
That's
I
true.
do believe that we're going to keep working and making those strides, and we will be completely blue soon.
That's true. But before we move on to I'm really excited about our guest host because I think she's all about women power and she can tell
Yes.
us more about what she's doing. But I just wanted to let our listeners and our viewers know, if they need to, I guess, desubscribe to Fox News channel. Because, I'm reading it from one of our favorites, Melinda, is Heather Cox Richardson, right?
Yes, I love her.
So
She's one of my
love her.
heroes. I
She
love her.
really is. She
She
really
is.
is.
She's
But
brilliant.
I just want people to know, like people that are in our little bubble here may not really understand or may not hear what's going on in that Network. So I thought I would
Mhm.
just read a little blurb to our viewers and our audience here.
Okay.
Um, Fox News Channel personality Carlson, which I think we know who that is, right? Called for his
Oh,
audience to
Tucker.
start direct action. He told them to confront people wearing masks, which he says are signs of political obedience. He maintained that 64% of white Americans who call themselves liberal or very liberal have been diagnosed with an actual mental health condition. He called them aggressors and told supporters it's our job to brush them back, and restore society we were born in. He
Oh
also
my.
said to call the police immediately if they see children wearing masks and keep calling it until someone arrives. It is child abuse, he says, and his audience is morally obligated to prevent it.
Okay, I
So,
take umbrage because I am in South Carolina right now because we just buried my stepfather last week from COVID. And it is not okay. It's a horrible. I have had COVID personally and
yeah,
survived it. My mother had it and she survived it. It is a horrible, horrible, horrible virus. And some people don't make it. And that was my stepfather and has directly impacted my family. So Tucker Carlson, who is it's an opinion show. I'm a journalism major. So I take umbrage with the fact that he is not a professional journalist, that he has an opinion show that makes it seem like something is fact when it's absolutely not fact. That just burns me up. Where's his medical degree? How does
I
he know
don't know.
anything?
His medical degree is in ratings, but I think the important thing to note is that this is what's being said in our little bubble. We might not hear this, so this is kind of where this is coming from, and it's up to us to take the higher road to empower women and empower science, and do what's right, and we do what scientists is recommending, what the scientist community is recommending, because we're almost through this, right? We're almost through. We are, but the other countries who are not as grateful, do not have the facilities that we do in terms of vaccinations, in terms of the education, are not doing as well. So we
It's
need
not just
to.
the fact that they are, it's that their leaders took their key, they took the lead from Trump. And so India and Brazil are having a horrible time right now because
Yeah,
their leaders did nothing. And so these people are suffering, and it is just a horrible way to go.
it's a
I would
horrible
not
way.
wish it on my
It's a
worst
horrible way.
enemy. So
But I guess
I
the way to think about it is change starts from within, right? And so
yes.
we need to empower each other and empower women especially. So with that note, we have our guest speaker, our guest, and she can hopefully Erin can pop her into there she is. Hey Blanca. Oops, you're on
Hi,
mute.
Blanca. Hi.
Hi there.
Yes.
I almost left the mute button on.
Oh, that's the
Not
phrase
good.
that's the phrase of 2020 and 2021. You're on mute, right?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh no, thanks for coming on. So tell us a little bit about yourself, about your organization, and what you've done in terms of empowering women or empowering folks like us that want to, start from within and start the change.
Sure. It all started with the pandemic, to be honest with you. I mean, everything kind of just crashed and stood at a standstill, and it almost was my motivation to get stuff going and started. So I launched my organization. It's a nonprofit organization that services women. It's called She Influences, and that launched last year in April. And pretty much, it kind of just started my own journey. I became a children's book author during the pandemic as well. And but prior to that, I guess I should start. I was a stay-at-home mom. My husband does own his own business in the production industry. And I have two little toddlers, one on the way. So that's kind of what inspired me to just, kind of be the right example for them. And I just started actioning out all the things that, would come to mind. I'm a person that really likes to make a difference in the community, and starting with women and children, which is why, I pretty much started the children's book and then also the organization for women, which, yes, it empowers women to really, truly find their true value, their recognize their potential. A lot of times this life, kind of dulls our sparkle in a sense. And the journey that we can be on, whether we're moms, single moms, working moms, women that are just struggling to enjoy life, we tend to dull our light. And as you all know, as women, we have great potential, we have a voice, and we're capable to do so much to cause commotion and cause change.
So you talked about dulling your sparkle. How can we buff that sparkle and just spark on out?
You know what? It starts with the right support system around you, recognizing your worth and value and potential. Sometimes we tend to shut out our own happiness because we're not content in what our life is currently. So finding contentment and understanding what you're living in currently and finding the happiness with that. And then that can definitely spur up for you to move on to the next level to make a change that's needed, for yourself in your life and your family. So, yeah.
So
I
you
know.
mentioned, go ahead, Melinda.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I know for me, becoming a mother it was just difficult because my husband was in the military. We moved every 2 years. And so it didn't really make sense for me to go back to work. So I stayed home with my children. I don't regret it. I really am grateful I was able and in a position to do that. But I would substitute teach, and I sold Discovery toys for a while. But I've always been very politically active, and I think that's where I would always get my fulfillment from. That I needed that, since I wasn't in the career field that I had chosen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's also, there's a change of life that I think a lot of us have experienced, is that once these precious children leave, your whole social life is around the children, for lack of, I mean, it is the
Mm-hmm.
softball games, the baseball games, the school events. And just because the way our society has evolved, that when those children go off, you've kind of lost your social network. I know I've experienced this myself, and a lot of my friends have experienced this. It's like a big loss. So I think as women, we need to support each other, nevertheless, but
Mm-hmm.
understand this is a huge change for us. And I think, in previous society or in previous years, culture was more around, let's say, the church, or let's say your little neighborhood. And
Mm-hmm.
because people are so mobile, they're all on their phones. And, let's just face it, the way that everyone is so focused on child rearing now, which you
Mm-hmm.
have to be, it's more focused on the children. So you lose your purpose. And I think that's maybe an explanation as to why we see these changes, why we see divorces, why we see these women, our brethren really kind of
Exactly.
struggling with this change.
Exactly, and that's pretty much where the idea was born. I had a career. I was a corporate buyer for many, many years, and I did choose to have children and marriage later in life. I was
Mhm.
37 when I had my first child, so having that, what could you call it? That persona, that image of the career woman, and being so active in my own personal and single life, I guess you can say,
Hmm.
really, really made me like rethink everything that was going on with just being a stay-at-home mom. I knew that when I had children, I wanted to stay home to raise them, and thankfully, my husband wasn't too, he was supportive. 90%, only because there was a lot going on in society, so we you know we just had to plan it out a little bit differently. But I was able to become a stay-at-home mom with my first child, and it quickly, surprisingly, took a toll on myself mentally, because I did lose myself. I was so
Hmm.
happy and excited to be home with him 24/7, but within a few short months, I feel like it was maybe 7 months in, I started really losing who I was. I was like, oh my gosh, is this really it? Is this the only thing that I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life? It just kind of changed me. I didn't know
Mhm.
who I was. It changed me in my marriage. I was like not understanding who I was. So I did start joining some Facebook groups, because I was, almost trying to, it was like a little cry for help, self help. So I joined some groups, and I noticed that there was so many women out there going through the same thing. They, even like self image things, and,
Hmm.
issues with their husbands, just a lot of situations happening. And I instantly felt like, what, women need women, and through each other's stories, we're all able, to connect in one way or another, because we're both built the same way. Your husband could be as supportive as he can be. However, he's not a woman. He's never really gonna 1,000% understand you, or at least empathize with you. So that's where the idea for opening up the organization came about. Well, actually, at first it was just going to be empowerment events for women.
Mhm.
I met a friend who had hosted a few of them herself, and I attended one during that dark time in my life, and I just saw how women just opened up to one another and were just so open to support each other.
Hmm.
So I started with the idea of wanting to have that first event in my own community. And sure enough, after planning it and hosting it, there was 150 tickets sold. And it was a free event. And just the the dynamics of the event. Women were connecting with each other. They were strangers, but then left as friends. You know, tears were shared, laughter was shared, and I instantly knew that something was missing in this community that needed to be established. And lo and behold, She Influences, a not-for-profit organization, was born.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I
great.
think it's also important to kind of realize is that, you know, in the patriarchal society that we live in right now, there's different kind of roles that we all play, but we can be successful as non-working women, meaning working in the
Exactly.
home, and successful in the corporate environment. And that doesn't mean that we have to meet the definitions that have been set forth by society. The only way that we can really do that is to support each other as women. And I think
Exactly.
in the past, there's been this discrepancy between the ones that work at home and the ones that work in the corporate office. And it doesn't have to be that way. And it's up to us to really break through these barriers. And
Exactly.
speaking of breaking through barriers, let's talk about your children's book.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
I'm
you.
very
Yes, yes.
excited to hear about that.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Here's what it looks like. You know, I meant to send you guys a copy, and I just kind of forgot to ask you where to send it. But the book is called "This Is Me, Nehemiah James," and it is named after my first born, my son. And the book's mission, my mission with the book, it's actually the first of 5, because I want to do a series and hopefully maybe continue it on throughout the life of my children. It's to bring awareness to multicultural children and parents on the importance of influencing the celebration and the exploration of all cultures within a child's ethnicity. Sometimes you see out there, there's multiracial children who are only focused on one or the other, and then they struggle as they grow up in school and whatnot with identifying who they are, in a sense, and sometimes peers have a lot to do with that as well. So these books are for parents to really understand the importance of starting all of that at a very early young age. My son's 3. He's the oldest. I have a daughter who's going to be 2 in June. So starting that now, having them really feel the empowerment of being multicultural, including, American, Mexican, and African American. It definitely will stir up a very strong little individual as they grow up, in today's society, to be honest with you, because it's pretty crazy out there.
Yes, and I think that's going to be kind of the face of the future, right?
Mhm.
It's not going to be this set future. I think there's been different like AIs that show what
Sure.
people are going to look like 100 years from now, and it is multicultural. It's not one color or not one color, one sex or not sex. So I
Exactly.
think it starts with us, and it starts that enlightenment and that acceptance from a young age.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely agree. I'm sorry. I was just going to add. I as I did my research and whatnot for the book, I ran into a lot of documentaries where children in middle school and high school were having so much trouble and issues accepting one race over the other. And I was reading just different stories of mothers being just so sad that their children were negating one side over the other. So that's the main thing that really stirred my heart. Like I never wanted my children to choose one over the other. They should be proud for both.
That's a great point of view. That they should be proud of all of their culture. I'm adopted, so I'm just a mutt. That's what I say.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I think that's important because it doesn't have to be binary, right? And I think people try to put everyone in categories. And maybe the essence of this book is that you don't have to be in a category. You can be responsive and reflective of all the cultural aspects of your heritage.
Mm-hmm.
And have take the wonderful traits of everything. That is very, very important, I think, for their self-esteem and for them developing as children. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So Blanca, where can someone get your book and get more information about your organization?
Sure. So right now, my book you can find it on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and Walmart.com.
Okay,
That
so
is
I'm sure Erin can put
awesome.
our producer can put these links on. So if anyone's interested, she'll put the links in and you can click on Amazon or Walmart or, oh, are you available in bookstores? I hope so. Maybe some
I'm
bookstores you
available
can go
in the
into.
local Chicago bookstores.
Okay, in
I'm
Chicago.
not sure what other distribution channels are through the printing company that I'm with, but it is open to nationwide and on a global status.
Okay. In your organization, you can contact them through.
Yes, and then you can go on my website, www.sheinfluences.org.
Perfect. Great.
And then, and that's where you can get a hold of me. My information's on there.
Well, thank you so much. You're such an inspiration for all of us to take the initiative and see an opportunity for change and actually go out there, make an organization, make a children's book. I mean, it's really inspirational. I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be here. I
Thank you so
appreciate the
much for coming
conversation.
on.
Thank
It's been
you.
great
Thank
having you
you.
on. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Melinda, it makes me feel kind of
Yeah.
like, okay, what do? I just do spreadsheets all day.
Well, I am officially retired. So I'm like, this is what I do. Cup of Joe. We do something right here. Something
Yes,
very
but not as
important.
much as she does. So I think we should all,
You
she
don't
should be an
shouldn't compare
inspiration.
yourself. You do what you can and feel
That's what
good
we
about the
do.
contributions that you make as a human being to this earth.
Melinda, that's what we do as women. We compare ourselves all the time. We need to break that habit.
I've kind of gotten over that. Wait till you get to be my age and you'll say, forget that.
You're only a few years older than me.
55 is fabulous. I'm just saying.
Well, 49
I'm
ain't
not there
bad.
quite yet. I'm 54, but I'll be 55 in July. So,
all right. Well, follow, share Cup of Joe on Facebook. And gosh, Sheila knows all these little taglines. I don't know, but
I have no idea. I'm just I'm not the talent. That's what I have to say.
so if you want to be on Cup of Joe, please reach out to Melinda.
Yes, please.
Yes, and we're on Facebook, Cup of Joe. Gosh, where is Erin when we need her? She's probably screaming right now. And we're on Instagram,
YouTube, and Instagram, and Twitter. We're on all those places. Just look us up. You know how to do that.
Yep.
It'll be fine.
And we're on Podbean. And I need to tell her about another forum that someone told me about, but I'll poor Erin. I'll tell her about that later. But anyway, fight the good fight. Be inspirational and be supportive of other women because we can make the change.
Absolutely.
Right.
Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, have a great night. To Ruth. I don't have Diet Coke. Melinda, I've broken down and I bought a Coke. I just can't help it. I'm an Atlanta native. What am I going to do?
That's okay. I forgive you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.